What is up, you amazing people? It's Nima here, and today I want to talk about a game that came out on Christmas Day. So this review is getting released a little bit later. I really wanted it to come out last week at some point. In fact, maybe even earlier than that, but things happen and you can't control it. So anyway, Poppy's Playtime. Now this is one of the latest games that have been ported from the PC that have been like that indie horror puzzle solving phenomena that has been so popular. It's kind of insane how much these type of games have really caught on. I mean, you probably recognize one of the main villains in this game, Huggy Wuggy, from toys and shirts and merch that you've seen all over places, even like Walmart, let alone Amazon, YouTube. Anytime you type in video games, you're most likely going to end up with Five Nights at Freddy's, Poppy's Playtime, Bendy's. There's all of these games, and luckily we finally got Poppy's on the Nintendo Switch. And honestly, the most important thing for me straight out the gate was just the fact that it runs really good. I was kind of surprised because this is a game that I saw my son play quite a while ago, actually. I would say about a year or so. And it really ran sluggishly and didn't really hold up on his PC. He does have an outdated PC, so, you can blame that. But what is the Nintendo Switch if not outdated hardware as well? So I was really curious how it would hold up, and thankfully, really, really good. Like, that was one of the most important things for me. Not only that, but graphically, like, the game really looks good, looks really sharp, and really, I just wanted to get performance out of the way first before I actually got into this game, because you might be asking me, what is this game about? Well, this game is about a huge, successful toy company, one that would rival like Mattel. Their incredible popular toys like Poppy and Huggy Wuggy dominated toy store shelves. But then one day, all the workers just disappeared. Well, a decade has gone by, and you who once worked at this same facility is now going back to find out what happened. You received a very interesting message where you were told to find the poppy. So just like Kurt Cobain back in the day, your main goal is to find that poppy flower. Now, I know it's an outdated reference, but what can I say? No one does heroin anymore. Anyway, back to the game. For the most part, the puzzle solving and a lot of that is relatively easy. There's a few things that could kind of get in your way, but thankfully you're aided by a device called the grab pack, and it's kind of cool the way that it works in. You have a left hand and a right hand, and the triggers work on each. So you can kind of grab things, you can also conduct electricity. That becomes a major staple of a lot of the puzzle solving in this game. And as far as the puzzles go, most of them are pretty simple. I gotta be honest, the very first one, how to actually kind of get into more of the facility, that was probably the biggest one for me that I couldn't figure out. But once I paid attention to the train, and if you played the game or you're gonna play the game, those words will mean something to you, then I figured it out. But after that becomes the difficult task of avoiding Huggy. As you first come into this place, you are greeted by a gigantic Huggy Wuggy. But after you figure out a few puzzles, well, you don't see Huggy Wuggy there anymore. And you are, in fact, greeted to Mr. Huggy Wuggy as you're trying to escape and trying to figure out how to distract him, how to kill him, how to find this poppy flower that is incredibly important. At no point in this game, though, do you see our main protagonist just lose his S over what is happening, which is, by the way, exactly what I would do. Now, I have to say, though, like, for the most part, it's a really good game. There's not a lot to talk about, if I'm being honest, and much of this video feels like it's just going to be filler because the story is light, right? The gameplay is also pretty simple. It doesn't require a lot of explanation, but more importantly, the gameplay itself is only about 30 to 40 minutes. Now, this is chapter 1, and that's kind of important because this game is supposed to be like, I think it's supposed to have 4 parts in total. The second one has already been released, not on the Switch yet, not that I could find anyway. I've been looking everywhere to find out when there was a release date or any information on it, and I haven't seen anything. But the third chapter is supposed to release on the PC and apparently the Switch at the same time, later on in the spring, I believe. And then the fourth one, who knows, it could be 2024. And I do think like there is a conversation to be had about when to purchase this game and when to play it. Is now the right time? And honestly, in most of these scenarios, I always say no. Like, wait until they all are available and then just get like the whole set, because usually you're going to pay the same amount, and usually you're going to get like a physical copy. Maybe you're going to get, I don't know, something a little bit more worth your while. But with this, I have to say, if you have the Nintendo Switch and this is your only way to play it, I would definitely just download it. It's $4.99. Yeah, you're gonna get maybe an hour or so. I say 30 to 40 minutes, but I've seen this game so many times that it didn't take me hardly any time at all to figure out how to get through the game. But I'm more concerned about the next Switch. Why? Because we're probably gonna get Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 on this Switch, but the Chapter 4, who knows when that's coming out, and so that'll probably be released on the next Switch. So if you're waiting for some giant, bundle, who knows when that could be? And this is a game that I think that by the time Chapter 4 releases, you don't really want to be out of the loop. Even though you're not going to have a lot to catch up on, there's still a ton of fun in just figuring out the lore of these kind of games. This, like so many of these indie horror puzzle solving games that are so popular amongst the youth of our country, one of the big things that has made it so popular is that they get together and talk about it. They talk about the lore. They turn themselves into little detectives, and they start wondering what is going on with these characters and how to break the game and how to figure things out. So if you want to experience that full thing, I would say get it now, because by the time you even hop into Chapter 3, it's already going to be played through many times, and I don't know, it's just not going to be the same. Now, if you don't care about that, then, whatever, it's fine. Get it whenever you want to. I would just be very cautious about waiting for some sort of bundle. No, I mean, honestly, who am I? Who do I know in Nintendo? I don't know, it's all speculation, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe the Switch 2 is going to be bundled with the whole collection of Poppy's Playtime. I doubt it, but maybe. I'm just saying that, if it were me, in my position right now, I would just grab the digital version, because a lot of the fun of this game isn't just in playing the game, but it's also getting in on the theories and getting in on the conversations about where the game's going to go and who's this and what character is that, what does this represent. There is so much more to this that I do not have the mental capacity to understand, and yeah, I know, I'm realizing that 12-year-olds are much more mentally advanced than I am, but that's fine. No, I'm kidding. There's a wide range of people who like these games. It's not just the tweens and the, young adults and whatever. No, these games really do cross a generational gap and even a genre gap. There's people like myself who don't love all of the horror type titles, but when it comes to Happy's Humble Burger Farm or Inscription, even FNAF to an extent, I do enjoy those kind of games. I enjoy that ability to play detective, to understand that the game that you're playing may not actually be the game itself. I think of Happy's Humble Burger Farm, where unless you do a few things, you don't actually experience the full game at all. And the love and care that goes into a lot of these games to figure out that you have to break them or you have to do certain things to unlock the real game. Inscription is another one of these games that you could just think that it is one type of game until it turns itself on its head and it's completely something different. Now, with Poppy, I gotta be honest, I haven't really experienced that, but I haven't really dove into it. I'm not the greatest at doing this. It's a new idea for me as a gamer, and I can't even give it a score if I'm being honest, because it is just Chapter 1, but I can say this, I would advise picking it up. I really enjoy it. I'm excited for Chapter 2, and I will say that I hope that it stays at this price range. The reason I say it is because Chapter 2 is apparently about double the size of Chapter 1, if not even maybe a little bit bigger than that, and I think Chapter 3 is supposed to expand upon that even, to where at the end of the day, this could be a 10-hour game, and if it was each volume $4.99, we wrap it up to a $20 game. I think that sits right. I think that's a good place to look at it, but that's one of the reasons I can't actually give it a grade, because, well, none of these things have been decided yet. Performance hasn't been completely decided. I can tell you about Chapter 1. I can tell you the ending is, well, it's not great. You want more to it, obviously, and, so I would just recommend checking it out if you're interested in the slightest. $4.99 is a really good price for something that actually does look really good for the Switch. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on Poppy's Playtime. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Have you experienced it? Is it a game you're interested in? Also, if you've heard of Choo Choo Charles, I'm super hyped for that game. That game comes out in a couple weeks. If you haven't heard of it, look it up on the eShop. It looks great. It's $20. I'm really hyped to play that. I've even tried to get a code just because I want to get in on it early. That game has looked really cool for a long time. I've seen it on other PC stuff and stuff. Anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Take care, everyone. Love y'all. Bye-bye.